Everyone in Africa knows him as Major One, and he has quite the portfolio. Shepherd Huxley Bushiri is a Malawian preacher, businessman, and philanthropist, and he built his empire with resilience, faith, and ambition. But there is more to him than his exceptional spiritual leadership and entrepreneurial spirit. With a net worth estimated at over $150 million, he is one of the wealthiest religious figures in Africa. Let's take a trip through his journey, how he overcame adversity, his education, his family, and most importantly, how he became one of the richest black prophets in the world. Early life and family background. Shepherd Bushiri's life began on the 20th of February, 1983, in the remote and quiet district of Rumfi in northern Malawi. Shortly after his birth, his family relocated to the nearby city of Mzuzu, where he spent most of his childhood. He is the fourth child in a family of 6. His parents are Huxley and Christina Bushiri. His mother named him Shepherd to acknowledge the Lord as her shepherd. His parents had to overcome a difficult socio-economic situation that would shape his views and determine his life's philosophies. His father, a small-scale farmer, and his mother, a devout Christian woman, made a modest living. Despite these hardships, they maintained a strong Christian faith, which is a major reason he grew into who he is today. Spiritual awakening and calling. Everyone has that life-altering moment that changes their lives and makes them passionate about their careers or dreams. For Shepherd, that moment happened when he was just 10. He was just a little boy when he experienced something that would have shaken even the strongest adult and which would forever define his path in life. And that thing was a vision. It all happened one evening, as he remembers. In this vision, a supernatural being appeared to Shepherd. This being had a message for him. It was quite a simple message, too. The being instructed him to dedicate his life to the service of God and to spread the gospel to the world. So Shepherd did exactly that. He began to share his visions and messages with those around him. He would speak to his friends, his family members, and even community members about the teachings he believed he had received from God. That special vision ignited a fire within him that still fuels him today. And what was more, his spiritual gifts were undeniable even as a teenager. He was a gifted orator, and he was so good that he could capture the attention of everyone around him with just a few words. It did not matter whether he was speaking to a small group or a large crowd. Shepherd's words always resonated strongly with everyone around him. But that vision was not the only divine encounter he witnessed. Shepherd experienced a lot more over the years, and as he continued to experience more, his faith became stronger, and there was no doubt in his mind that he had been chosen for a higher purpose, to lead others to salvation. His calling became even clearer when, in his late teens, he began actively preaching in his local community. It did not take long for his sermons to become very popular, and by the time he was in his early 20s, Shepherd already had a loyal following. Everyone loved him because he not only preached but also healed people, delivered them, and helped them grow spiritually. However, his path to spiritual leadership was not smooth. Many members of his community doubted his supernatural claims. Some said that his faith and miracles showed he was naive and unrealistic. He grew up in a country where the majority of the population was living in poverty, and the opportunities available to young people were very limited. Shepherd, aware of the challenges faced by his community, became one of the biggest philanthropists later on. While his peers pursued different paths, Shepherd's heart was set on one thing: spreading the message of faith, hope, and healing to the poor. Educational pursuits. With his new goal to spread the gospel, Shepherd needed to be well-equipped. He understood the importance of education in fulfilling his mission, and he knew that he needed to learn to read and write to be able to interpret the scriptures. So, he pursued formal studies with determination. He attended Moyal Secondary School in Mzuzu, where he completed his secondary education. Then, to further his education, Shepherd enrolled at Theropon University, where he earned a bachelor's degree. His academic journey didn't stop there. He also obtained a bachelor's degree from the University of Lilongwe and pursued diplomas in business administration and communication from Allison University. One of the turning points in his education was attending leadership programs at prestigious institutions. He attended a program at Harvard Business School and is currently pursuing a master's in business administration from East London University. He was very intentional about the courses he chose to pursue, and his academic achievements equipped him with a strong foundation in theology and business, which are very important tools for his roles as a preacher and entrepreneur. With his newfound understanding of business principles, Shepherd Bushiri began to build a brand for himself, not just as a religious leader but as a businessman. He ventured into real estate, investments, and various businesses because he was able to foresee opportunities that others had missed. He was so smart. He was not only interested in leading souls to Christ, but also in creating avenues for financial success so he could sustain his ministry without depending on others. Family life. In 2011, Shepherd married Mary Zgambo, a Malawian entrepreneur and philanthropist, in a lavish ceremony. Mary is an accomplished professional in her own right and had been his steadfast partner in both his personal life and ministerial work. Currently, they have 2 daughters, Israela and Rafaela. Despite their public success and their strong spirituality, Shepherd's family life has suffered tough trials. In March 2021, their eldest daughter, Israela, died on the 29th of March 2021 after fighting a respiratory illness. This loss threw them into such deep grief, and people around the world sent their condolences. Though extremely devastated, the couple continued to lead their church and guide them, proving their strong faith in God. His wife, Mary Bushiri, has been his stronghold through these dark times. She has been quite instrumental in the operations of the church, Enlightened Christian Gathering, or ECG. You would often see her beside her husband during services and outreach programs. This support comes so easy for her because she shares his vision. The Enlightened Christian Gathering Church, ECG. One of Shepherd's biggest challenges was finding a good place for his ministry in a country with many competitive religions. Malawi, like many other African countries, is home to several well-established churches with long-standing leaders who've built a reputation for themselves. So he was confused about how to begin. He knew that he had to develop a distinctive preaching style that set him apart from the rest. So he founded the Enlightened Christian Gathering, ECG Church, in the early 2000s. The church's first headquarters were in Chibanja, Mzuzu. Its vision was to teach people not only about salvation, but also about prosperity and deliverance. That was his distinct style. This emphasis on financial and material blessings set him apart from many traditional churches, which focused primarily on spiritual teachings. Shepherd's message resonated strongly with people who were struggling financially or going through personal hardships. He presented the idea that God could offer both spiritual and material prosperity. Initially, the church was small, and Shepherd couldn't even finance the ministry. However, because of his unwavering faith and his entrepreneurial spirit, he worked hard, and his ministry began to flourish. Soon, his gift in men, healing the sick and prophesying, made his ministry grow. The Enlightened Christian Gathering has now grown to become one of the most influential churches in Africa. Shepherd's charismatic leadership and his divine revelations also attracted thousands of followers, not only from Malawi, but from other parts of Africa and beyond. His powerful messages made his followers see him as a spiritual father in a world that looked bleak. Shepherd Bushiri also succeeded because of his strategic expansion. After establishing his church in Malawi, he expanded to South Africa, where he set up the ECG headquarters in Pretoria. This allowed him to tap into a larger and more diverse audience and gain international recognition. The church soon became a hub for thousands of people, both local and foreign. The influence of Shepherd Bushiri's ministry continued to spread across the globe. His church services, with healing sessions and prophetic declarations, attracted large crowds, and his social media presence grew. Videos of his prophecies and healing went viral on platforms like YouTube and Facebook. Soon, Shepherd became very wealthy, especially with the addition of his various enterprises, including real estate investments and international partnerships. With his wealth, he established a large network of businesses, charitable organizations, and properties around the world. Today, Shepherd Bushiri's ministry has a global congregation that runs in the millions. He has branches in Malawi, South Africa, and also in other African nations like Nigeria, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Additionally, he has a significant following in countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, and parts of Europe. Before we talk about his wealth and the properties he owns, please like this video and subscribe for more fun videos like this. Bushiri's financial empire. His empire is anchored by Shepherd Bushiri Investments, SBI, which is a conglomerate with roots in many sectors. With headquarters in Sandton, South Africa, SBI seems to be involved in mining and oil, real estate, hospitality, transportation, telecommunications, agriculture, education, etc. He has even established institutions like the Bushiri University of Agriculture in South Sudan. In 2018, Bushiri also launched a multi-million-dollar hotel in South Africa. With all this, he has been greatly awarded. In 2018, he was inducted into the CEO Hall of Fame by the African Leadership magazine, and they recognized his contributions to Africa's economic development. Lavish lifestyle. Bushiri's lifestyle is nothing short of extravagant. He has high-end vehicles like Rolls-Royces and Bentleys in his collection and reportedly owns multiple private jets, including a Gulfstream acquired in 2016. His car collection includes Rolls-Royce Ghost, which is valued at 9.92 million rand, a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, which is worth 1.76 million rand, an Aston Martin Volante, which has been said to be priced at 4.49 million rand, and even a Bentley Flying Spur valued at 3.71 million rand. He also has a Porsche Panamera worth 1.64 million rand, a Ferrari 360 Modena worth 1.3 million rand, and a Lamborghini Murcielago valued at 3.5 million rand. But some of these vehicles were reportedly seized by South African authorities following legal proceedings. Bushiri also owns 3 private jets. The third jet, acquired in 2016, was valued at $37 million. However, in February 2019, he lost access to his aircraft after the Asset Forfeiture Unit claimed that he had forged loan documents to acquire the jet. Bushiri owns a very large and beautiful mansion reportedly worth $12 million. He also owns the Sparkling Waters Hotel and Spa, valued at 1.3 billion rand. Controversies and legal troubles. What kind of legal troubles and controversies can a man like Shepherd Bushiri suffer? A lot. Shepherd has faced allegations of fraud, money laundering, etc. He has faced criticism for his wealth, the lavish lifestyle he leads, and the source of his financial prosperity. Many who dislike him have accused him of enriching himself by exploiting his followers and making promises of prosperity that they would never attain. Also, in February 2019, The Citizen published some reports that suggested that Shepherd Bushiri was originally named Chipiliro Gama. The report was based on an invoice that was allegedly sent in error to Baloyi attorneys, which identified the individual not as Shepherd Bushiri, the name widely known to the public, but as Chipiliro Gama. However, later that year in September, Bushiri's spokesperson and head of communications, Ephraim Nyondo, publicly refuted the claim, saying that the allegations were false. But one of the biggest controversies happened when Shepherd and his wife Mary were charged with money laundering and fraud of over 102 million rand by the South African authorities. It all happened in late 2020, and the Bushiris had to flee South Africa after being granted bail where they had been living and seek asylum in Malawi. The charges were related to allegations of illegal financial dealings, including the mismanagement of church funds. But he responded, saying he was the victim of a political witch hunt. The case raised questions about the transparency of his financial dealings and whether his teachings were legitimate. It was so bad that the South African police seized his properties and bank accounts, claiming he had defrauded pensioners of $6 million. But there are even more controversies. Bushiri had once made claims of curing HIV, and this led to temporary bans from entering certain countries like Botswana. In 2010, Bushiri was alleged to have impregnated a teenage Malawian woman and attempted to bribe her to have an abortion. The woman subsequently gave birth in 2011. Well, Bushiri has denied these allegations. There was also the controversial moment when he was said to have charged 25,000 rand for a seat at his table at a gala dinner held in 2017 at the Pretoria Showground. He also collected 1,000 Namibian dollars as entry fee to a dinner held in Windhoek, Namibia in January 2016. but Bushiri, in several news interviews, slammed these rumors. However, during a church service in March 2017, Bushiri was said to have announced that he wanted to make members of his church into millionaires. Some in the audience received an email telling them to invest at least 100,000 rand to gain a return on investment of 50% within 30 banking days. To make it more interesting, some that had no cash with them were sent banking details of a company, Rising Estates, the directors of which are Bushiri Lieutenants Willa Mudolo, Duncan Oduor Otieno, and Kit Ching Catherine Kum. Well, it's been 2 years later, and those who sent money claim they have yet to receive anything back. The investment scheme might have been linked to Palambano investments. The congregants who reported the situation even provided proof that the money had been paid into the ECG's First National Bank account. The Eastern Cape police spokesperson, Captain Miluleki MB, confirmed that a case had been opened against Palambano Investments and its directors in response to the complaint. Between 2016 and 2018, many individuals came forward with serious allegations of misconduct against Shepard Bushiri. However, many of these accusations were later withdrawn under very suspicious circumstances. According to some reports, several of the accusers were either threatened or received undisclosed payments before retracting their claims. These developments made many think he was interfering with the legal process. The situation grew in December 2021 when Clifford Cornelius Rezant, a man closely linked to Bushiri's inner circle and known to have led his personal security team, was taken into custody. He was arrested alongside his wife, Brigadier Rosie Resant. Authorities charged the couple with corruption and obstruction of justice. It was discovered that Bushiri had transferred 500,000 rand, which eventually reached one of the accusers, who then reversed her statement. Investigators viewed this transaction as part of his attempts to manipulate legal outcomes and dissuade witnesses from cooperating. Shepard's supporters, however, remain behind him. They continue to believe in his divine calling and have chosen to see his legal challenges as an attack on his ministry rather than an indictment of his actions. Security details. Because of Shepard Bushiri's popularity, he has needed a lot of personal security. During his public appearances, especially in countries like Nigeria and Zambia, he was surrounded by security teams usually reserved for heads of state. During his visit to Nigeria, for example, he walked around with 24-hour military and police escorts. This level of security shows the respect and recognition he commands in certain African nations. Even in Zambia, in 2015, Bushiri was accorded VIP treatment, including a security detail comparable to that of a president, after arriving in the country in a private jet. During his church services too, especially those held at large venues like the Pretoria Showgrounds in South Africa, he moves with strict security protocols. And yet, Bushiri has publicly expressed many concerns about his safety, especially since his legal challenges in South Africa. He has alleged that his life and that of his wife, Mary, are under threat. This was just one of the reasons they fled South Africa in 2020. In a statement, Bushiri claimed that there were attempts to kidnap him. Philanthropy and community impact. Unlike many wealthy men, Shepard Bushiri gives as much as he earns. Apart from his powerful messages, he is well known for his philanthropic heart. He has provided support to various communities through charitable initiatives. He even has a foundation, the Shepard Bushiri Foundation. This foundation focuses on education, healthcare, and poverty alleviation, especially for the youth. They also offer scholarships, medical assistance, and social outreach programs to any lacking. In addition to his philanthropic work, Shepard has been quite vocal about the importance of economic empowerment within the African community. His teachings often focus on prosperity, with an emphasis on self-reliance, financial literacy, and breaking free from poverty. His advocacy for financial independence has inspired many to take control of their financial destinies, particularly within the African diaspora. But beyond the pulpit, Bushiri ventured into the world of business, establishing Shepard Bushiri Investments, SBI. SBI claims interests in various sectors, including mining, real estate, and telecommunications. In 2018, Bushiri launched a multi-million-dollar hotel in South Africa, showcasing his business acumen. His real estate portfolio is equally impressive, featuring mansions and hotels. Yet, these symbols of success have also been points of contention, especially amid legal scrutiny. The philosophy of Shepherd Bushiri. At the heart of Shepherd Bushiri's message lies a philosophy that is rooted in prosperity gospel and divine healing. Prosperity gospel, often seen as controversial, teaches that financial success, health, and success are signs of God's favor, and it encourages believers to trust that God will bless them abundantly in all aspects of their lives. For Bushiri, this message is not just a theological stance, but a personal testament to the power of faith in action. Bushiri believes that every believer has the potential to live a prosperous life, and that God's blessings are not limited to spiritual well-being, but extend to material wealth. He often encourages his followers to claim their blessings through prayer, prophetic declarations, and acts of faith. Shepherd's beliefs also emphasize the importance of tithing and giving to the church. He teaches that financial contributions to the church are a way of sowing seeds for future blessings. Despite criticisms from some quarters who argue that prosperity messages are only given to exploit vulnerable individuals, Shepherd Bushiri has remained firm in his stance. He believes that by preaching prosperity, he is empowering people to take control of their destinies and live lives of abundance. Now you might think you know how Shepherd Bushiri runs his life as one of the richest black prophets. But have you ever thought of how he and other black prophets make their money? Well, if you want to find out, then check out our video on ministry or business, how black pastors make their money.